All right, guys, welcome back to the show. In this episode, guys, we have Jesse Waters. He does a one-on-one with Abdul El-Sayed. Now, Abdul El-Sayed, he's running for Senate in Michigan. And let's just say, guys, this interview, it is absolutely crazy. You're not going to believe some of the things you're going to hear come out of Abdul El-Sayed's mouth. So let's start when they're talking about ICE.
I know I don't agree with you on this. You want to abolish ICE. Who's going to deport the criminal aliens from the country?
Well, you and I both know that long before we ever had ICE, we had INS. We were able to enforce our immigration policies without shooting people in the face and the back of the head. And we just celebrated our 250th anniversary. That was an anniversary of throwing away tyranny. Now, to bring that tyranny back under the guise of the U.S. government itself, that seems to me to be inconsistent with the freedom you and I both love.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a dodge,
is,
Abdul. They did the same thing as ICE back then, INS.
Yeah, I love that, guys. I love that Jesse pointed out the fact INS and ICE do exactly the same thing. The only difference from today to when it was INS back in, I think, 2003 is the political climate. You weren't having people out in the middle of the streets pretending to be peacefully protesting when they're out there throwing rocks at ICE cars, blowing whistles, sitting out in the middle of the streets, making sure that ICE is unable to do their job. That is the biggest difference between when INS did it and when ICE did it. They're exactly the same organization. And really, Abdul, you're just using the talking points that they told you was going to work. But we can all see through it, guys. We know that ICE and INS are exactly the same organization.
Do you know how many illegal aliens are in the country
shoot
now?
People in the face and the back of the head.
Do you know how many illegal aliens are in the country now?
To your point, Jesse, let me just answer the question. To your point,
how many do we have?
Far fewer when we had INS. To your answer, we had
exactly.
far fewer when we had INS, so arguably INS worked a lot better.
Abdul, listen, we had twice as many illegals now when we had INS.
So to your argument,
you have to have the manpower to do it.
If you want to do that correlation, we have ICE now, and we have far more undocumented people. So ICE is clearly not working. It's just shooting like American citizens in the face and the back of the head. So if you're okay with that,
illegals are shooting people in the face too.
To disagree.
Yeah, there we go. Jesse is like, well, if you want to claim that ICE is doing this to American citizens, well, guess what? So are illegal immigrants. They're also doing it too. So, again, all Abdul is doing is he is ignoring and staying away that in his own speeches to his own people, he talks about abolishing ICE. And what do they do when he says it? They erupt and cheer. They love the idea. But now that he's on TV, right now that he's on a conservative channel where there's more independent voters, he's really staying away from it and making it sound like he's more neutral and that, you know what, INS was so much different than ICE and they were so much better and they did a better job. No, come on, man. We all know what happened here. The border was open for the last 4 years. Millions of unvetted illegal immigrants crossed that border, and now ICE is going around and trying to gather these people up to deport them out of our country. But major cities like Portland, Minnesota, Michigan, all these blue cities are refusing to work with ICE, which is making the situation a lot more tense and creating this chaos, which they want to see. You know what I'm saying? They want to see that this stuff happens so that way they can use it on the media to try to portray that how bad the government is. This is all set up by design, guys. All set up by design.
Abdul, you got a guy in Michigan.
So are American citizens.
You got a guy.
Think, look,
let me just say something, okay?
To get back to the conversation about the broader issues.
Okay.
Well, you cut me off, Jesse, and you said we're going to have a good conversation, so I'd like to do that. I just want to answer the point. When I travel the state, and I have traveled my state, more people are asking me about how they're going to afford their gas and groceries. They're not asking me about immigration.
Well,
now,
they also don't want to get molested. Abdul, you got a guy here from Southeast Asia, molested a kid. ICE just picked him up. You want that guy to stay in Michigan?
I'm glad that that guy got picked up, but that's a different thing than saying that INS would not have picked him up. Jesse, you're too smart for this.
It's a bureaucratic game you're playing, and that's a dodge.
You point to him, you say,
you need guys to get these guys out of the country.
And therefore,
okay, let me pause that real fast, guys. I actually give Abdul credit. I really do, guys. I give him credit because when Jesse asked him, should this man who committed a horrific crime be deported, Abdul said yes. Now, if you watch the way he's answering, he keeps closing his eyes. I think he's really not liking the questions, and he's trying to make sure he remembers his talking points. But at least this time, he said that yes, if they commit a horrific crime, they should be deported. You know, my pushback to Abdul is if that's the case, if that's what your party believes, then why is it when these illegal aliens commit crimes, blue cities just allows them back out on the street? Why not hold them in jail and then hand them over to ICE, who can then deport them? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it feels like it's just all set up by design to create chaos.
ICE, we need ICE. I'm just saying, look, playing by your own rules. When we had INS, we had fewer people doing the things that you're talking about.
That's because Biden didn't blow open the border back then.
When we had that.
All right, that's because Biden didn't blow open the border back then.
And that's not an ICE question. That's a CBP question.
No,
Jesse,
you guys let in a ton of people, and we got to get them out, and we'll take the guys out the way we need to take them out.
Yeah, so there you go, guys. You know, Abdul, when he's with his own people, he talks about how he wants to abolish ICE, right? Get rid of them. We don't need borders. That's literally what he says in his own speeches to his own people. But as soon as he gets on a conservative network, he wants to pretend that, like, no, that's not what he says. He's different now. Come on, guys. We all see, we all know who this guy is, and at the end of the day, the Democratic Socialists of America want no borders, and they want as many illegal immigrants to come into the country. If you don't believe me, head over to their website, and it literally says just that, guys. It's absolutely insane, right? And so now we go from abolishing ICE to, now this one is where it just turns absolutely insane. Like, I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know if this is going to work to win votes over, but I don't know, guys. Let's listen, and you tell me what you think.
You dodged again. Sex changes for minors. Do you support that?
Look, you know, I remember having great conversations with my conservative friends about right-to-try legislation. The idea that the government shouldn't tell you what kind of health care you should have. I just think the government shouldn't tell you what kind of health care you should have. And if you're a minor,
you want to try on kids?
Now, if you disagree with that, if you disagree that health care decisions need to be made by a doctor and their parents and a patient, then we think we agree to disagree. But, you know, you want to put government inside
So, Abdul, you're a doctor, right?
Selectively. I am.
So you think it's okay for a parent to slash his kid's thing-a-ling off? You think that's okay?
I mean, do you really want to have this conversation? Are you circumcised?
Yeah, but I mean, that's a
Jesse,
personal question.
Okay,
doctor.
So you probably should want to move on.
And circumcision's different than castration.
I think it's a problem. It's a problem that you think that you get to decide what happens between a parent, a doctor, and a patient. And I'm just saying that, yes, circumcision is surgery on a kid's ding-a-ling. So if you really want to bring that up, you can. I just think you guys are really selective about how you want to talk about these things.
Abdul, Michigan's not going for that. That is sick stuff.
That is absolutely sick stuff, guys. You hear what this guy said? He wants to compare circumcision to castration, and then he wants to say that it's really up to the parents and the kid and the doctor on what happens here. Like, for me, guys, that is not a call for minors to make. You may see it differently, but I personally believe in order to do something like this to your body, you should have to be an adult. And not only an 18-year-old adult, right? We all know that our brain develops all the way until, 25, 26. So really, that is when you should be making that choice. Not at 10 years old, not at 12 years old, not at any age of being a child. I can't believe that Abdul decided to compare circumcision to castration, and I think Jesse is right. Michigan, I hope you're listening. This is who you may end up having in the Senate. We'll have to wait and see, guys. All right, and in this final clip, guys, Jesse talks to Abdul El-Sayed about Sharia law and white supremacy. And what I love about this is he actually shows a video of El-Sayed. Let's watch this, guys.
Back then.
Okay, let's move on. You said getting rid of Sharia law was white supremacy. Let's roll the tape. Go.
I don't have to tell you that the same exact forces that drove native peoples from their land 2 centuries ago, destroyed Black Wall Street a century ago, bombed a building decades ago, and tried to ban Sharia law not a decade ago, that those forces are alive and well today.
So getting rid of Sharia law is white supremacy. Can you explain that one?
Do you know what canon law is? Jesse, I assume you're Christian, right?
Yeah, tell me.
All right, so canon law is the name for Christian law. I don't begrudge you your right to practice your faith as you choose. I don't know why the idea that I could practice my faith as I choose is a problem. Nobody is trying to push Sharia law on anyone else, just like I hope nobody is trying to push canon law on anybody else, because we live in an America where you should have the freedom of your religion. So the idea that you have somebody like Tommy Tuberville, right, who, you know, barely was good at coaching football, is out here trying to ban Sharia law when there's less than 1% of the Muslim community in America, as if somehow Muslims are out here trying to push Sharia law, that seems to me to be deliberately targeting the Muslim community because they're different. And I'm just saying that, like, I have no issue with people practicing their faith. In fact, I would never want somebody to push their faith on me, and I would never want to push my faith on somebody else.
Good, because...
Oh, wow, you know, I like what he's saying, but I don't believe him. If anybody's ever looked up Sharia law, it's something that the Muslim community on other parts of the world, they live by, right? And so he wants to sit here and basically say that, like, because Muslims only make up 1% of Americans, then what's the big deal, right? Why would he be passing laws to stop Sharia law, right? Come on, man. We all know that what that's doing is being proactive. You're stopping something before it happens. You know what I'm saying, guys? It's like he wants to sit here and he wants to pretend that other parts of the world that have a much bigger Muslim community, they live by Sharia law. And he wants to pretend now over here in the United States, they don't want to do that, right? And if they do, they just want to do it for themselves. Well, wait a second. To me, in my opinion, Sharia law cannot work with the Constitution. They're two very separate things that stand for very different reasoning. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what you guys think about the Sharia law bit. You wait till the end here, guys. I'm about to show you something that's going to absolutely shock you. It shocked me when I found it, and so here we go. Let's finish up with what he has to say here.
No one wants you to get rid of your religion.
And so the idea,
no one wants that.
So, but when people preemptively go out there and start preemptively passing laws to ban something that's not happening, what you're trying to do is target a very small community because they're different. And this operates. I mean, look, I'm just going to say, there's statistical evidence that the president and the vice president like to target me
scary.
Simply as a function of my faith.
You know, it's like men aren't equal from women.
Like,
it's like physical punishments.
You like to say the word. Look, Jesse, look,
people don't
like to
that
say
in
the
Michigan.
word
I'm just saying, I don't think
really,
that's a good
really
position.
And scary. Nobody's pushing it. No, but Jesse, nobody's pushing it. You know what the issue is in America, in Michigan?
What?
The issue that people are worried about is not that somehow somebody's going to come and push Sharia law on them. The issue in Michigan is people are worried about how they're going to afford their gas. The issue in Michigan is how am I going to see a doctor when I get sick? How am I going to keep my job? You're out here, honestly, you guys love to play this culture war game where you use these words that sound really foreign to avoid actually having to talk about the issues that everyday people like to talk about. Now, look, Mike Rogers is the guy I'm running against for U.S. Senate, and I know you've had him on your show. Maybe he answers questions. I don't know if he does.
I've actually never had him on.
Only, but look, you haven't. So So he's ducking your show too, because he's ducking. Look, can we all agree? Like,
I haven't
Jesse, you and
invited
I
him
are
on.
going to have a debate, right?
Yeah, there we go, guys. So there he is talking about Sharia law in the United States. He wants to say they only make up 1%. It's not that big of a deal. It's not a big problem. And when they're pushing laws to stop it, that they're discriminating against a small group. It all depends how you look at it. To me, it looks like they're being proactive, right? They're looking at what's happened on other parts of the world. They're seeing how this conquering takes place, and they're stopping it before it happens, because at the end of the day, Sharia law and the Constitution, they cannot mix. It's impossible. It's impossible to mix. One stands for something that is against what the Constitution stands for. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you agree with that, guys. Now, before we go, what I want to do is I want to show you something that it shocked me, but this is the problem I see, right? It's not necessarily that we should have an issue with Muslims. I believe Muslims should have the right to practice their religion, just like every other religion, right? We have Christianity here, and we have so many versions of Christianity. But at the end of the day, they all get along as far as it doesn't become violent. You know what I'm saying? Like you have Protestants, you have Mormons, you have Seventh-day Adventists, all these different versions of Christianity, and yet at the end of the day, for the most part, they get along. But at the end of the day, I didn't hear El-Sayed denounce the extremists in his own religion. And I can show you right here. This is the part I want to show you guys. This is going to shock you. Check this out. This is flashback to 2024. International Al-Quds Day rally in Dearborn, Michigan. Listen to what they chant. Listen to this.
Gaza has shown the entire world why these protests are so anti-America. Because it's the United States government that provides the funds for all of the atrocities that we just heard about. And this is why Imam Khomeini, who declared the International Day of Quds, this is why he would say to pour all of your chants and all of your shouts upon the head of America. Malcolm X said, and I quote, "We live in one of the rottenest countries that has ever existed on this earth. Any system that would allow such atrocities and such devilry to happen and would support it, such a system does not deserve to exist on God's earth." And so when these fools ask us if Israel has the right to exist, the chant "Death to Israel" has become the most logical chant shouted across the world today.
And there you go, guys. So now you saw what is going on in Dearborn, Michigan. Does Abdul El-Sayed, does he agree with this? Has he come out and he's denounced what these people are saying? Death to America? Are we really okay? Do you ever hear the Christians say that? We have so many different Christian groups, but yet none of them are screaming out death to America. None of them are trying to say how terrible America is. And if America is as bad as you say it is, what are you doing here? Right? There must be only one reason why you're here. Now, if Abdul wants me to have a difference of opinion about what I just saw, then at least come out and condemn what these people are saying. You know what I'm saying, guys? It's absolutely insane that this is happening today on American soil. And the crazy thing is this September 11th will mark 25 years. And so look where we're at 25 years later. Absolutely insane. I don't know, guys. But anyways, that's the end of the video, guys. I want to know what you thought about what we just watched, right? Abdul El-Sayed, he talks about ICE and how it's so much different because it used to be called INS, but really we know it's the same organization. They do exactly the same thing. Then they go into talking about children, and then he even compares circumcision to castration. So I want to know your opinion on that. And finally, guys, Sharia law. We see exactly what is going on, and somehow we are being blinded to it. You know what I'm saying? Ask yourself this. What does America look like by 2050? And will Christianity and radical Islam be able to coexist? I don't think so. But we'll have to wait and see. Let me know in the comments down below, guys. You know, one of the reasons I started this channel was just to show how much I love and appreciate America, and I hope you do too. You know what I'm saying? America, are we a perfect country? No, we're not a perfect country, just like every other country. Have we had our issues? Of course we've had our issues. But at the end of the day, guys, America is and will always be the greatest country to ever exist. We have done more than any other civilization on the planet. And yet, Abdul El-Sayed and the Democratic Party wants to focus on only the negative of what we've done instead of looking at all of the greatness that we've done. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I always say, guys, this is why I always say America is 100% worth fighting for, and we need to defend our values. And with that said, guys, you have a great day. I'll see you on the next video.
For freedom's truth, we stand as one.